Welcome to the Wabi-Sabi mouse kit. We have the kit in a variety of fabric designs and there are lots to choose from, so you can order the one that you like, and there are, as you can see, many of them. Let's take a look at the kit. If I can get the lid off, here we go. So in your kit you have the Wabi-Sabi mouse kit fabric ready for you to cut out. You have the mouse base, and that is a piece of felt. Small piece of felt for the inner ears. Large piece of felt for the outer mouse ears. You'll also find you have some ribbon for the tail and a black piece of felt for the eyes, plus some buttons if you choose to use buttons for the eyes. We don't suggest using buttons for the eyes if you're making for very small children. You'll also find a template with a mouse pattern and the idea of where to place the ears, the nose and the eyes. And this allows you to make more mice in the future. You'll also find two pieces of fabric and a template for the blankets for the mouse and for the pillows. So let's take a look at how to make the Wabi-Sabi mouse in two versions, one in the kit and one in the extra fabric that you might want to make it in after you've used the kit. The next stage in your project is to cut out your mouse shapes. If you have the kit, you'll already have the ribbon. I've cut out the mouse base, I've cut out the outer ears and the inner ears. I'm going to use the buttons for my eyes and nose, and you have the mouse shapes here. So I'm going to cut these out. Just cut slightly outside of the white line. At the same time as making the mouse from the kit, I'm also going to show you how to make a mouse from your own fabric. So you have everything that you need to recreate the mouse kit and make more mice. So you can use the pattern pieces to make the ears, cut out the mouse base, and you can use buttons, you can use felt pieces, you have the templates for the eyes, or you can use embroidery thread to make the eyes and the nose. So if you're going to make the mouse in your own fabric, you just need to use the mouse template and cut out the mouse shape in fabric. Just be sure to make sure that when you're cutting the mouse body out that you cut a pair. So you'll need to cut one out and then flip the pattern piece and cut out another body. With all the pieces cut out, I'm going to show you how to prepare the ears. So if you take the two outer ears, and if you want, you can use some fabric glue just to secure them. It's not absolutely essential, it just does help a little bit. I'm not going to in this example. So we pop the inner ear on top of the outer ear, and we're going to fold the ear in half. I'm just going to use my handy clips to just secure that for now. So just fold them in half. Make sure all the edges are equal and together, and just hold them together. So I've made a pair of ears for my kit mouse and a pair of ears for my extra mouse that I'm making here. The thing we need to do is to take our mouse template and we're going to pop that onto the pattern piece, and you have this small dart shape here, so place it centrally and we're going to cut in through the centre of this dart shape just under a centimetre from the edge of the little dart. So I'm just going to flip that over and again cut in. Let's get that nice and straight. Cut in and get my slit. I'm going to do the same on my extra mouse here. Now we're going to take the ears. So we've got the ears for this mouse and the ears for this mouse. With the ears facing upwards, so facing up there, I'm going to hold them like this and pop them to the edge of the slit. So they need to be opening upwards, so facing up, so the opening's there. Just fold that back, and I want to sandwich the ear edges within the slit here. And I'll use my clips to just hold that in position. And same with this one, so the ears facing upwards. Pop the base in there and just make sure that the ears are sandwiched in there. I'm going to hold them. I'm going to go over to my machine and stitch from here and just over the edge. So I'm taking the shape of the dart here and just stitching down there to sandwich the ears in. And I'll do the same for our extra mouse. So as you can see, I've stitched from the edge here and then I've just come about a centimetre past, so it's forming a small dart and it's trapped the ears inside the slit. So the next thing we're going to do is put the right sides of the mouse together, but we need to attach the tail first. So I'm going to pop the tail in position and wherever I would like it, just about a centimetre from the base there, or 3/8 of an inch. Whoops, we don't want two tails on one mouse. Pop the tail on my other mouse there. So we're going to put the right sides of the mouse together. Just re-secure that. Make sure the edges are together here. And just be careful that you don't trap the tail ribbon. And match the seam here. If you can just pop it so that they're open and nice and flat. Hold them together. And I'm going to do the same for both mice. I'm going to stitch right the way around the top of the mouse there. So just stitch along here. So you can see that I've stitched all the way around here, taking about 6mm seam allowance, so a very tiny seam allowance here. I'm going to turn my mouse through to the right side. It's beginning to look like a mouse now. We have the shape. And just use the warmth of your fingers to roll that out and get the seam nice and smooth. And the same with my extra mouse. I'm just going to turn him through. So we'll take the mouse now and just fold in the seam allowance here. So just crease it along. So just take your tiny 6mm seam allowance and just fold it in just to get a little bit of a crease. Take the mouse base, you have the front marked here, and we're going to pop we'll just tuck that. We can either tuck this in or just snip the very point off after. Pop the front of the mouse there to the fold of our fabric there. So we're folding in, and then we've got the edge of the felt here. I'm just going to hold that with the clips. I'm going to go around and just clip that to the edge there. And the same on the other side. Just tuck that in. And pop the fold there to the edge of the felt. And we'll leave a little opening here so that we can insert the filling. So I'm going to hand stitch now along this edge to secure the mouse base in place. So I have the mice bases or mouse bases stitched around, hand stitched, and I've left my needle and thread here, and I've just left a small gap so that I can insert the filling. So I'm just going to insert the filling. I always find it best to use a pen. I use my invisible fabric marker pen, just to, with a rounded edge, just to push the filling into the mouse. And small pieces of filling work best. Not one huge big piece, otherwise your mouse will look a little bit lumpy. When you're happy with the quantity of filling that you have in the mouse, use your fingers to just roll the seams and shape him or her. Then go ahead and close up the base. So carry on the hand stitching, stitch round and close up the base. I've closed up the base of the mouse, so that's completely closed now. So all that remains is to sew the eyes and the nose. I love buttons for the eyes and the nose, but you can use your stencils to make little felt eyes and a felt nose. Or you can also use an embroidery thread and just do a satin stitch across. So I'm going to show you how to do the buttons. If you're making it for a small child, I don't suggest that you use buttons. The felt or the satin stitch is normally better. You don't want buttons for small, younger children. And also limit the size of the tail, because that could be a choking hazard. So I'm going to pop my needle through where I want the eyes. And then leave that there. I'll just hold that. And then I'm going to stitch through, and they're not exactly the same, these buttons, but it all adds to the character of the mouse. I'm going to stitch through there, go through the other side. If you wanted to be super secure, then you can tie this off. So that you have a knot, and then just snip this. And then we're going to pop our other button eye on. So we're aiming to go through to the other side, find the hole, takes a little bit of wiggling around to find that, and then through. And if you want, you can pull it gently to create a more narrow face with a little bit of detail. And just carry on. Backwards and forwards until you're happy that they're secure. When you finish with the eyes, pop your needle in and aim it towards the nose. So you're aiming to come out of the seam here. Pull your thread and then go ahead and stitch on the nose through the base. This is probably the hardest bit with the hand stitching because it's fairly thick here. Just get through there. Okay. You might have to use a thimble or a little bit of force to get the needle through. And when you finish with the nose, just make a few extra stitches underneath to make sure it's secure. So here we have our little pink kit mouse and our extra mouse that we've made with a fabric of our choice. So you can go ahead and make as many mice as you like. Also, within the kit, we have some extra pieces. You will have been supplied with some fabric to make pillows, and it's as simple as popping the fabric pieces together, so the right sides together, and taking a very small stitch just within the edge of the seam allowance and turning this through. Now I've added a piece of wadding here, that's not included in the kit, but we can then put the right sides of the blankets together and make a tiny quilt. So we would stitch here and here and here, turn it through, insert some extra fabric to make it a little bit thicker, and make a quilt. Stitched across the top of the little quilt, I've also got my blankets, so I'm just going to pop my little mouse friend's pillow, tuck the tails in, snuggle up together, pop their quilt on, and they're nice and cosy in bed.